Hey, we're back. So I did one little video that I posted on YouTube's about my router table, my homemade router table. It takes the plate. It's this one right here, regular half-inch MDF. I put what I didn't mention is I covered it all once I put it together. I covered it all in tung oil, and then this. There's the base plate, but this is from Lee Valley, and what you can also get these inserts for it. So when you take it off, you can take it off and use it as a just use it. You know, I took the handles off because they were interfering with getting it through this hole, but still, you just hold it like this. And Lee Valley, you know. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm making another one for a friend of mine. So maybe it was a little unclear before. I think it's a great design, so I want to share a couple of steps. I was making this other one, and I thought, hey, I'm going to take a couple of quick videos and show the construction of it. I put it on here, and I just clamp it to my bench on two sides on the job site. And even in the shop, I find that now I don't even roll my big router table out anymore. When I got to use the router table, usually it's for some quick stuff. I'm trying to build something fast. Who wants to build something slow, right? You don't want to do that. Slow construction just doesn't work good. I pull this one out. Still, it's so easy. Then I put it right onto here, onto my Polk Ultimate workbench, and I use the clamps and I clamp it down the back so it sits off, you know, like this, and then I can adjust it. You see the back. The back of it is here. I have the split fence and the dust collection port from Rockler. These things I get from reedsupply.com. You do these two, moves back and forth. So I always keep it to one side on this one because then it stands up by itself. You put it like that, and then I can stand it up by itself. So I'm making another one here, and I'm going to go through how I do it. So the first thing I did is I laminated. I had this half-inch. This is exterior grade half-inch. That I got at the Wood Bank in Berkeley in the middle. I'm going to do again the Lee Valley plate. I'm going to order another one. I was going to just take this and mount and cut out one of the half-inchers and mount this on the underside right to it. Just put the motor under it. But you know, that Lee Valley plate. One thing is, the deal is a 1/4 inch, so it gives you a little extra room on getting your bit height higher. So the thicker your plate is, the less bit height you're going to get out of the maximum that you can put up your router base. I don't put lifts under these, so this one you would have to use this to raise it and lower it, and it's just, you know, it's down and dirty for the job site. This one, this Bosch one, is nice because you unclip that and then you can use a Allen key up here to raise and lower the motor through this. And you know, you're not, when you put this back down, it moves it a little tiny bit, so you got to compensate for that. It kind of will raise it like a, you know, really tiny amount. But whatever, when you're out in the field, you're making rebates or doing something like that, you don't need ultra machinist precision. So take the 5/16 straight bit, and I'm going to go from right here 2 inches and then 2 inches behind here, and I'm going to make 2 slots in here with this 5/16. Then I'm going to take this T-bit, not this one, this is my backup. I'm going to take this T-bit. So this one, this is an Amana tool, one number 45664. Use that one. So I do the 5/16, and this right here is like 5/16 right here. You can see where I made the last one, it rubbed up against that. So I make the slot, and then I'm going to put this, I'm going to make a little square right here so I can fit this down in it. and take that one down to this level here, maybe a little bit more, and then run this one in so I make a T-slot in there. Then these T-bolts, these I get from Rockler, but these I get from Reed's Supply. I haven't found these anywhere else, and I've looked. So then I'll drop that through the front. It'll go through this way. This will pass through that little square, and then this will be sticking out. You know, this is the top. This will be sticking out the top enough that this can go on after I make the fence. That's phase one. Okay, so this is set up to router the groove, the slot for the first one. What is important here, I have 5/16 bit in here, that's the straight one. And what's important here is that once the guide is set up, if it isn't a guide rail, a straight edge, a square straight edge that runs against your router, but both have to be done with this in the exact same position with the guide, either the guide rail or a straight edge, a squint. It's got to be square. What I'll do is I'll router this, and then I'll change the bit. Since this one's half, I have to change the collet too. Then I'll change the bit so that this section of this bit is running in the groove. This will be down below the surface of the MDF, so it'll router this T-slot inside inside this MDF. And why I have this part in the back here done like this is I was gonna have this come in from behind, and then I would glue on another piece of MDF, and then these T-bolts would be completely captured in there so they wouldn't fall out the bottom, and then this part will slide down into the T-slot. I have stops set up. I'm 4 inches over from the edge. That's just arbitrary. It could be 3, it could be 4.5, it could be whatever. That's not that important. I'm giving myself 2 inches from each side, and that's just arbitrary too. I verified that I'm square, and I have some stops set up for it, and I've set my bit height. So we'll do this this first pass. I'm set for it to get the full depth in there. I don't want to move these, but boy, that dust collection sure is nice. That would be a real pain without that dust collection. Let's switch the bit and go to second pass. Okay, so I have the bit changed, and I'll take this off just for a second. But here, I was talking about making that square these can drop in, which by default, if you did it that way, that T-slot bit would make your own hole. You'd run it back and forth in a little space there, and then drop it down to full depth, and then take it across. But what I've done is I've set my backstop back a little bit so I can run it back and forth through here to get a little extra depth. These are 1.5 inches. These are the ones that I use for the main fence. They're 1.5 inches. This is a 1/2 inch, then I put 3/4 inch is the bottom part of my fence, so that's 1 1/4. And these 1.5s on the first one I built, they catch and they're fine, but I had less thread than I was comfortable with. So I'm going to make this just a little bit deeper so that these bolts are just a little bit higher. So I'm setting that T-slot a little bit deeper than, the last one I just dropped it right to here and then made the slot in through, but I'm going to run it back and forth here to get a little extra depth, and then go to full depth and take it all the way through on here. So let's do that. Out of there. Okay. That T-slot is in there. twice. So that's T-slot. Here's what I'm talking about. So this, I still have to make a little square because it won't go down in there. So let's make a little recess for it. Okay, there it is. So we make a little spot where this can drop down in it. There. I drop down in here. This part of the shank of the bit runs straight in there, 5/16, and then it makes that slot, that T-slot in there. So then I make a little recess here. Bam. Now that'll drop in there. And what the other nice thing about it is it won't allow it to spin. So you won't have any problem when you're doing your knob. This thing is captured in there. And then what I'll do is I'll take this and I'll glue this onto it. And bang! That'll be it. It'll last a long time. But it's nice if you're repositioning your fence or it comes off, these aren't falling out the other side or getting lost. And if you need to get it out of there, you just chisel it out of there a little bit. But I've had this other one for a while, and if you're not leaving it out in the rain, then it isn't any problem. Bam, there it is. We build the fence. That's going to go right on there and hold that fence into place. Alright, well here I am preparing the opening for the Lee Valley base plate. It comes with instructions, and essentially it really blows installing this thing. This is the bad part of the whole thing. Because one, there's no dust extraction. Two, it's silly because you attach this to here. Then they give you a guide pin to put into this hole, but you have to lower the router. It's hard to, you got to keep measuring because you have to go to 3/16 less than full depth, but you know, you can't use a plunge router. I mean, I guess if you installed this onto a plunge router, then you could. You know, it shows it like this, but I guess you'd have to use a plunge router because I have to manually like open this and then drop it down is what I'm having to do. Well, let me show you. So I got to go 1/16 of an inch on this one, so I got to move this, and I don't know, it's kind of dangerous, I guess. And then the dust collection is blowing MDF, you know, blowing everywhere. So here we go. I got to go 1/16. Accidentally hit the speed control. Getting all over the place. Woo! This base plate comes with instructions. Like 4 pages of it. I'm making the slots in the bottom part of the fence. This is just some scrap cherry ply I had from a cabinet job. And what this part is going to be is this part right here. I'll have some others here that go on to here. And on this one, they don't have these. These they only have 1.5, 2.5. I found some 2 1/4 that I ordered from Woodcraft, but they're not here yet. And for the 1.5 that I used on this one, I have essentially a 1/2 inch plus 3/4, and these that are 1.5, they're in my thing already. They just didn't have enough for me to be comfortable. This thing just went on just to like 6 or 7 turns, and I wanted to use more of that thread in there. So on this one, I'm gonna slot. I made these slots where these are gonna be in there, but I'm gonna make a counter slot on these so that the knob, this part of the knob, can sit down in 1/4 inch more, so it gets more meat on it. So here's how this thing works right here. Unplug it, got it unplugged. Now I can pull this out of here. You know, there's other gizmos where you can change it from above, and I actually don't have to pull it out, but it's just easier to do. Take that 5/16 out. I'm going to use, this is a 3/4 undersize ply, and it's a little bit bigger than the base of that knob, so this will work fine. Okay, and I can put this right back in here. I have to hold this. Alright, now here's the beauty of it. I use this, and I want about 1/4 inch. So I just measure it. You know, that's pretty close right there. So I don't have to do anything. I just leave it there. Now I lock this. I lock that down there. I can plug that in. I have 2 stops here. I've extended my split fence here. Just clamp this block here, clamp this block here, and this is in the same position that this was, so it'll make a perfect counter bore right in here. And all I do is I just lower it down and I slide this back and forth between these 2 stops. Alright, plug it in. Here we go. No homemade dust collection this time, because I've just got a small cut and I gotta be fast. This is the worst part about it, is I gotta find the darn. Lower it down onto it and then slide it back and forth. You gotta be aware of where your fingers are. Oh, look at how stupid I am. There you go. That's beautiful woodworking in action, huh? Okay, here we go. So I had to put it on the other side. I got confused because the slots are the same on both sides. This one's one side. So here, I got it worked around again. And here I am with my trick. Ask Woodman. Right there. You can change the direction of where you can clamp. You put this hand screw on there and then clamp your clamp. Then clamp your stop, whatever, to the hand screw. The hand screw is a clamp transfer. Alright, here we go. Let's make the final one. Alright, here we go. It's not pretty, but the whole point of it is just that this can be lower and catch more thread on my T-bolt. And that's will do it. Okay, so I made the T-slot that is in the fence, in the front fence, that I'll just cut in half and make it be the split fence. Turn turn these knobs back here, and then when this is turned the other way around, then where I use it with the fence. Right now I'm using it off the fence, so I don't need to turn it this way, but I have this one offset so I can get more, turn it around and get more depth if I'm doing cuts in the field. Run that Amana bit, and it makes that T-slot. So all there is left now to do is to drill the 4 holes. This will be the fence. Drill the holes through this one that the T-bolts will go in. Cut this in half, and we'll be good to go. I'm done. Okay, here it is. I don't have the plate. The other one I used was the one from my other router. I'm building this for a friend of mine, and the plate is on order. So this is it. I made it a little bit smaller than the last one I did. I didn't offset it because that proved not to be as useful as I thought it was going to be. We put the plate in there. We have these T-bolts captured in there. It's got the little dust collection port. These guys here hold the split fence. This holds the main fence. So on this, the last one I was careful to put some square cauls in to clamp it up, but this one I didn't. I dominoed it, and I thought, oh, you know, the dominoes are going to make it square, but they didn't really do, or I wasn't holding it right or something, so I had to go and plane this and fit it and retry it and plane this lower part here. So this thing was just a little bit back like this, so I had to plane the bottom of it and get it so that it would be square. But now it's good. It's really square, and you know, you see that split fence there, so you can bring that up on your bit. Once this is in here, I clamp it on the back. I just clamp it to the table. This is what I'll mount the plate onto, and it can go up through the bottom, or for this one, I don't know if the handles will go through. You can either, I took my handles off. He can do what he wants, but it'll go up through the bottom. So that's nice, and there's no lift. You just gotta unlatch it. I guess it's better to mount it this way, and then unlatch it and use your ring to adjust the height. But it's fast, and it's, you know, it's down and dirty fast, but it works. It just totally works. You know, you're not going to be making box joints on it and, you know, all that kind of stuff. It's not like, you could get some kind of screw thing maybe on the fence and some rails, but, you know, you really need templates and jigs for joints and all that stuff. Those kinds of things that are all crazy aluminum with the registration and the, those aren't for me. They're good, they're not for me. I like to make the jigs for certain specific tasks. So thanks for watching. You know, I hope you enjoyed it.